Today on Island Focus, you will enjoy meeting Derek Kawakami, who is the mayor of Kauai. Thank you for being with us, Derek.
Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure.
Now, as we're moving through the reopening, what are some of the challenges and opportunities that you see? And maybe you could share a little bit about your vision for what's next on Kauai.
This phase of our operation, the reopening and the stabilization of our economy, is much more complicated than the first phase when we basically just had to build a protective bunker for our people and just that part was relatively simple. Moving forward, we're much more coordinated, I would say, with the state. As well as with the other counties. Of course, we're working off of different timelines because Kauai was able to stabilize our situation a lot earlier. But now we take a risk assessment of various industries, and you've heard Governor Ige's plan to drop the mandatory 14-day quarantine for inter-island travel to reestablish a local travel industry. And the next phase is the reopening of our visitor industry as a whole. I think the important takeaway of all of this, Lila, is to always document what worked and what didn't work because this is a brand new operation. The last time we saw a pandemic such as this was during the Spanish flu, in 1919. So it's very important that we document what worked and what didn't work because we don't want to be caught in this type of situation again. I think the next big thing is also to really take a look at to where we want to end up. Sometimes as leaders, we can get so entrenched on the front line because that is essentially where we need to be, that we forget to disengage and take a step back so we can take a look at our peripheral vision as to where we ultimately want to end up. And there is no better time than during a disaster to be able to really make those big changes that oftentimes are hard to make, whether it be a lack of political will or the tremendous amounts of pressure. But we were able to do that during the flooding event of 2018. That is when, in the midst of a disaster, we were able to take a look and ask ourselves, when we get back to a new normal, what do we want this area to be? What kind of jobs would we like to see established? How do we want to see our visitors view some of our crown jewels on Kauai? And how can we have a vibrant visitor industry without the further erosion of the quality of life for everyday working men and women?
What are your real concerns about for the young people?
I would like to create a Kauai where our young people can reestablish hope. That's one thing that I have seen through the changing times. When I was growing up, which wasn't that long ago, in fact, I'm still growing up, we had hope. We believe that if we get a college education, we can come back home and we can make a living and we can have a happy marriage and we can raise kids and our kids can stay here and our grandkids can stay here. But as we move along, I've seen more of our young folks start off with these wonderful dreams when I talk to those kindergarteners. And when I start talking to kids in middle school and high school, I see that hope and dreams slowly start to fade. And my dream is to have a Kauai where we have a vibrant economy, where we have a diverse number of jobs for our kids to come back home to that can pay that living wage that we talk about, where we can not put all of our eggs in one basket and really have a multitude of options as far as housing, as far as job opportunities. And this is the time to really refocus our vision and start implementing those changes that we want to see. And it's not easy. It takes a collective effort. But to return to business as usual would be a bigger catastrophe in my eyes.
What are the lessons that you've learned that you could leave us with so we can also learn it?
If you keep your life simple, meaning oftentimes we feel that life is very complicated. Sometimes we feel that we have these insurmountable challenges. You know, when you stand at the base of a mountain and you look up and you're asking yourself, how in the world am I supposed to get over this mountain? It just reminds me of my mom always telling me, hey, just make that mountain small. I don't want you looking at the top. I just want you to get up 10 feet and then get up another 10 feet. And that's the biggest thing I learned, is that my priorities are really quite small. It's to serve our community, to be a good husband, to be a great dad, to be a good friend, understand that I'm not perfect, but ultimately we should be comfortable in our own skin. I know it's probably not what most people expect to hear, but internally, I feel that this situation will just make me a better person. It's made me appreciate the hardworking men and women in both the public sector and the private sector that are willing to be courageous in the face of adversity and step up and continue to serve their community. I cannot say how proud I am of our workers here in our EOC and our county workers that have this, just woken up, showed up to work like business as usual, and understanding that there is a level of fear and uncertainty, but they found it within themselves to continue to serve and do their job.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us and for reminding us who we are. I've learned a lot from you today, and I'm sure we all will continue to learn a lot from you. Thank you very much, Darren.
Thank you.
You've just had an opportunity to get to know a little better the Mayor of Kauai County, Derek Kawakami. Glad you could be with us.